South Wales and southwest England, whereas much of East Anglia and the southeast having a dry and sunny start. But don't get used to that. The clouds will bubble up like today. We'll see some intense downpours for the afternoon, some thunderstorms, some hail thrown in and some gusty winds. The heaviest showers come in the afternoon over the Midlands, eastern England and eastern Scotland, whereas actually in the west we start off with a lot of showers by the afternoon. The showers, well, a bit more interspersed with some longer spells of sunshine. The sunshine tends to disappear for Thursday. More cloud comes in from the Atlantic, outbreaks of rain, a damp, drizzly day for many, and it's quite breezy as well. Temperatures similar to today's values, so mid to high teens at best, perhaps feeling a little more humid. There are strong signs of some warmer, sunnier weather for the weekend.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Are you dreaming of a ton of tax-free cash this summer? We want to make that dream come true with a stunning £76,543 and 21 pence in cash to spend however you like. Put a new car on the drive or just relax in the knowledge that this year we've got your back. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The GB News audience is different, it's unique, because they see through the nonsense.
We want to debate with each other, we want to listen and maybe learn.
We have a chat, that's what we do, we try and have a chat.
They'll watch my programme while they're eating their tea, they'll watch breakfast while they're busy getting their kids ready for school.
We want to hear what matters to you, what is news for you.
And what's brought you out here today? What are the biggest issues affecting this particular area?
The audience are the best thing about GB News.
They're friends,
They're family. They're people who need to have their voices heard.
They're passionate about the channel, they're passionate about what they believe in.
The one thing about GB News is you get a chance to speak.
Talk to me about why so many people have gathered here today.
Do you want to say something back in return?
The GB News audience is what makes GB News special.
It's incredible to see.
They shape our programmes, they shape our output, and they shape our channel.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good evening, it is 9 o'clock. I'm Nana Akwe in for Patrick Christys, and breaking news tonight.
What's he saying? You! There's the other car away. What's that there? Wonder what that there is.
Fast on the brink, protests erupt after a Sudanese migrant was charged in connection with a knife attack that's left a 40-year-old man fighting for his life.
It's my understanding that the suspect was granted leave to remain in the United Kingdom, that he made his way from Sudan to Paris at dates unknown, and from Paris he flew to Dublin.
When will the politicians wake up?
What will be done to stop the importation of an alien culture that thinks it's appropriate to try and behead someone?
The honourable gentleman used the word alien culture, because what exactly is he referring to?
Also tonight,
Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
Sir Idris Elba warns the new custodians of James Bond not to make the legendary spy woke, and he says 007 should not be black. Plus, Islamic State terrorists, gangsters, companies linked to the Russian state have all been handed over £28 billion of taxpayers' cash. On my panel tonight, Conservative MP Esther McVeigh, GB News contributor Will Kingston and political commentator Kai Wilshaw. Get ready, Britain, here we go. We'll go live to Belfast as protests erupt. But first, let's get your latest news headlines with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you very much, Nana. Good evening to you. 2 minutes past 9. Our top stories. Fears of unrest in Northern Ireland are beginning to materialise despite police and political leaders calling for calm in the wake of the Belfast knife attack. A thick black smoke has been seen rising over the city after bins were set alight and a bus caught fire. Hundreds of people, many wearing masks, have taken to the streets in cities across the province, leading to standoffs with police. It comes as a 30-year-old Sudanese man arrested in connection with the incident has been charged with attempted murder. He will appear in Belfast Magistrates Court tomorrow. The Home Office says the suspect entered the UK in 2023 and was granted refugee status in the same year. The victim, a man in his 40s, is in serious condition with significant injuries to his face, neck and back. Politicians from across the spectrum have urged the public to refrain from further violence, with First Minister Michelle O'Neill warning about people who want to use the incident to incite hatred and fear.
I think people are feeling fearful, people are feeling angry, people are feeling a bag of emotions about what they have witnessed over the course of yesterday evening and into this morning. But my message today is one of calm, and don't allow those people that don't care about people here to incite hatred, to incite fear. Don't allow those people who are faceless to orchestrate campaigns and on the streets. I think that is something that I would want to underline from today's press conference.
2 men have been jailed for violent disorder during protests in Southampton following the murder of Henry Novak. 24-year-old Conor Bishop was sentenced to 2 years and 8 months. Leon O'Leary, who is 41, was jailed for 3 years and 1 month. 11 police officers and a police dog were injured last Tuesday when officers were attacked with stones, wheelie bins and chairs. President Trump has confirmed a US helicopter that crashed near the Strait of Hormuz was shot down by Iran. American military earlier revealed it had used a Navy surface drone to find and rescue 2 service personnel after their Apache helicopter went down near Oman on Monday. President Trump says the 2 pilots are safe and uninjured and has vowed to respond. Groups working for hostile foreign powers, including Iran's Revolutionary Guard, could be banned in the UK as early as next month. The new powers promised, after a series of anti-Semitic attacks in London, will result in up to 10 groups being designated as proxies to combat threats from Russia, Iran and China. Individuals who carry out assassination attempts, surveillance and sabotage for a designated group could face up to 14 years in prison. The IRGC is expected to be one of the first groups designated. Meanwhile, a fifth person has been charged in connection with an arson attack on Jewish communities in North London. Subhan Ahmed, who's 18 from East London, has been charged with assisting an offender. Finally, NASA's named its crew for its next major moon mission, Artemis 3. They were confirmed as US astronauts Andre Douglas, Frank Rubio and Randy Bresnik, along with Italian astronaut Luca Parmito, who will lead the mission. It's due to launch late next year. Unlike the Artemis 2 astronauts who looped around the moon in the last mission in April, the new crew, this crew of Artemis 3, will remain just close to Earth. You're up to date. Now it is back to Nana.
A Sudanese man has been charged in connection with a brutal knife attack in Belfast last night. Now, the victim, who is in his 40s, suffered significant injuries to his face, neck and his back. In a press conference this afternoon, police confirmed that the suspect had leave to remain.
It's my understanding that the suspect was granted leave to remain in the United Kingdom on the 28th of September of 2023. Again, this is to be confirmed, but I'm informed that he made his way from Sudan to Paris at dates unknown, and from Paris he flew to Dublin at a date yet to be determined. From my current understanding, he then travelled from Dublin to Belfast by bus on the 10th of February of 2023. There is no trace of this suspect on any of our national security databases, and he was not known to the Police Service of Northern Ireland.
But as sure as night follows day, rather than try to understand why millions are so fed up and angry about what has been done to this country, some local politicians decided to bang on about the so-called far right and division. SDLP North Belfast councillor Carl White said, "I would also ask people not to engage with far-right elements who will use this incident in an attempt to sow division. It's important that people remain calm and allow justice to take its course." In Parliament this afternoon, North Antrim MP Jim Allister asked the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland what was being done to stop the importing of alien cultures, and the exchange tells you everything that you need to know about why the public are so angry with our political class.
What I want to know, and what I know my constituents want to hear, is what will be done to stop the importation of an alien culture that thinks it's appropriate to try and behead someone within the United Kingdom.
Secretary of State.
Well, I would say I'm sorry that the honourable gentleman used the word alien culture, because what exactly is he referring to? What the British people have had enough of, are anyone from wherever they come, whatever their background, who seeks to commit violence on citizens of the United Kingdom. That is what we together are strongly opposed to.
I mean, he's questioning the language alien culture and asking for an explanation. And again, at a press conference in Stormont this afternoon, here's Justice Minister Naomi Long.
There will, of course, be those who wish to take the pain, the suffering, the fear, the genuine concern in those communities and weaponise it for other purposes. I would appeal to communities not to allow themselves to be used and abused in that way, to remain calm, to allow the police to do their work in terms of their investigation, and to allow the justice system to hold the individual responsible to account for what was a shockingly barbaric attack on our streets. We do not want police resources and other people to be caught up in what could become a very heated situation.
Forget blaming the so-called far right. Forget calls for cohesion. Forget politicians telling us not to use this alleged attack, not to whip up division. We are divided, and we have been for a long time now. The mass importation of people from the third world who can't speak our language, has that not stoked division? The liberal elite constantly telling you you're a racist, you're bigoted if you question why we have to live like this. Has that not stoked division? Well, tonight, hundreds have gathered on the streets of Belfast to express their anger at mass uncontrolled migration and protest successive governments' lack of action. Some of that got out of hand.
What's he saying? You! There's the other tire away. What's that there? Wonder what that there is.
So to be clear, violence is wrong. It is never the answer. But what do you expect to happen when you allow tens of thousands of illegal migrants to move into our communities? What do you expect when we shell out billions of pounds a year going in benefits to foreigners? It's too late to bang on about division and community cohesion and blame this on the far right. Mass, unvetted, uncontrolled migration is what has caused division, and that I lay firmly at the blame at the feet of our useless politicians. All right, we're now joined by GB News Northern Ireland reporter Doogie Beattie, who is in Belfast for us tonight. Doogie Beattie, what is the atmosphere like right now?
Well, Nana, it is filled with sirens and the smell of smoke. Sound of explosions, as in gas canisters going off inside buses, £500,000 buses that have been stopped in the Newton Ards Road behind me and set alight in order to try and draw the police into the area. This has happened in East Belfast, North Belfast, West Belfast, Yorkgate, right across the city. There has been real protests, and it hasn't even got dark yet. So I mean, this is the tactics of rioters. They get things, they set them on fire, then they tempt the police in, and it's at that point that it goes through the tiny streets and rat runs in and around the city. Now, it is wrong. Anna, it is very wrong, and to see one of those gliders burn is wrong. That is a public service that is now destroyed, and the taxpayer ultimately will have to pay for it. But what's coming out here is real frustration, real anger that politicians are not listening to them. And last night was quite literally the touch paper that was lit when most people in Britain saw that video, in fact right around the world, and how cruel and absolutely barbaric that was. It really did send these communities in Northern Ireland, especially in those socially deprived, working class areas where most of these immigrants are being put. Now, I put it to the First Minister today that should she apologise, because Sinn Féin sees a multi-racial, multi-state party, and they like Ireland to be of all colours and creeds. Well, this type of thing of violence has been going on in the Republic of Ireland for the last 3 to 4 years, and it's very little reporting done on it. But we see riots outside hotels, the people kicking back against it, and it's not just as quick to happen down there with riots as it is in Belfast. They've been used to it over many, many decades, and unfortunately tonight we are seeing that right here in Belfast.
Well, you asked Michelle O'Neill, about this, and she called it fake news. This is exactly what people are so annoyed about, that when you ask a question that all of the people around you want answered, they dismiss it as fake news. Just remind us of what she actually said to you.
She said she didn't truck with my way of thinking and fake news. She totally tried to dismiss the question, but it's not fake news. And she said that we shouldn't be talking about this on a day like this. My job as a journalist is to challenge politicians. It's not to let them have an easy run and give out lots of platitudes. It's just not there. So my job as a journalist is to hold these people in power to account. and by saying it was fake news, when every single person that I have met in this area tonight that watches GB News was saying it was exactly what I was shouting at the TV. Would somebody ask her that question? And they thanked me for asking her that question. Is she the First Minister for Northern Ireland? And if she is she going to keep the people of Northern Ireland safe? That was the question that I came with her at. But of course the protocol in Northern Ireland, the framework document that was after the Brexit negotiation, left the border in Northern Ireland out of Britain's hands and into the EU's hands. So as we have seen, and as I reported 3 years ago what happened, never mind the boats, the rubber boats going across, these people travelled in an airplane into Dublin and then travelled north into the UK. And once you come into the UK, Nana, under that travel area, you can travel into Britain with no passport. And that is how many of these immigrants are entering into Great Britain. And unfortunately, during the Rwanda scheme, when so many in Great Britain thought, those immigrants thought they were going to go to Rwanda, they travelled to Northern Ireland over a borderless border and into the Republic of Ireland, which caused huge tensions in the Republic of Ireland. But the government there at that time then started stopping buses and cars on the border, getting on board and checking for identification and passports for people travelling into the Republic of Ireland. This is a mess not of the people of Ireland's making. This is a mess of the politicians, mainly in the EU's making, and nobody seems to want to sort it out for fear of being called racist. In fact, it is just realist. None of us here, there is only 1.8 million of us in Northern Ireland. We've just about got enough health services for ourselves, doctors, surgeries, libraries, schools. We cannot afford to build more and more and give out more and more benefits out of the block grant. Whether you agree with racism or not, or immigration or not, that is simply the facts laid in front of us.
Doogie Beattie, thank you very much. We leave you there with the sirens, but we will catch up with Doogie Beattie throughout the night. All right, well, listen, joining me tonight, let's get the thoughts of my panel. Joining me tonight, Conservative MP Esther McVeigh, GB News contributor Will Kingston, and also political commentator Kai Wilshaw. All right, well, I'm going to start with you. Kai Wilshaw, we keep hearing, every time you question the mass immigration, or if you make a statement like it's an alien culture that's filling this country, people always look at your language instead of actually addressing the problem. Do you think that we've got a problem in Northern Ireland and also in this country with mass unvetted immigration?
Yes, I do.
Right.
We can hold two ideas in your head, though, can't you? You can both say and understand that calling people savages, talking about alien cultures at this time, at this present moment, is both unhelpful, was also called by the police services not to happen, but also doesn't get to the root cause doesn't get to solutions. You can believe all those things while also accepting that mass uncontrolled migration, clearly, especially in the dying days of the Conservative government, has had a massive impact on the safety of this country. We can have those two ideas in our heads when we're discussing tragedies like this.
What about calling people far right?
Well, I don't like to call people far right, but equally, it's clear that while you can be angry, and people are clearly angry about this, there are also far-right influences, many not from this country, who are trying to use this tragedy as a way to foment violence that they have no part in, that they can just look at from across the seas and foment that violence while people here suffer. You can believe those two things. It's obvious to me that there's an influence campaign coming from the States to try and create more unrest in the United Kingdom, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I can see you getting quite annoyed by that.
I'm so sick of this equivocating from the left, this both sidesing this. Let's hold two ideas in our heads at the same time. Let's talk about the far right at the same time as we watch a man being decapitated in the streets. This isn't a day to talk about, well, the influence of the far right, and then we can talk about the guy being decapitated after that.
Why not?
There is a direct...
Because if we don't talk about it,
no, I'm not. I'm going to finish. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. I was just letting that sit in the air for the audience to make their own judgment. There is a direct line between the people who say we need to focus on language and the violence that you are watching on the streets right now. Nana, you made the right point. People are not listening. Our people are not being listened to. And when you have the feeling you're not being listened to, you feel like you have no other recourse apart from violence. To your point, that's not right, but that is human nature. And unfortunately, the politicians have been able to suppress these narratives with the rape gangs and with illegal migrants for so long, but suddenly with Henry Novak and with the actions we saw this morning, there is footage. And you can't unsee what you've seen with your own eyes. And now they can't just say these are isolated incidents because clips are building and building and it becomes a trend, which breaks their whole, we just need to live in multicultural harmony together and everything is hunky-dory. They have to feel anger with us. They have to empathise with us, or else you are going to see more violence.
Can I just come on with that briefly?
Esther.
Because you can't say there's a direct...
Hold on a sec, let's get Esther McVeigh.
Well, I have to say, when I was in Parliament today and I saw Jim Alistair ask that question, which was, what are we going to do to stop the importing of alien culture? And for Hilary Benn to be affronted by those words and not by what was happening was astounding, right? I thought you are fanning the flames of upset, Hilary Benn, by not understanding. What do you mean by alien culture? What he meant is the savagery and the brutality of what you would not expect in a British Christian culture, to see a beheading on the streets of the UK. Now, what I will say, the Conservative Party didn't solve the problem of mass immigration. We know that. But it came up with a solution, which was Rwanda, which we should have kept the Rwanda solution, which was a deterrent. But what is astounding by the Labour Party, we didn't solve the problem. They don't see a problem. They're, like, in denial, blaming everybody else but finding a political solution. And that's what upset me. And watching Hilary Benn, I was flabbergasted that he seemed more insulted with the hurty words again of what Jim Alistair said, rather than the horrific scenes and happenings on the streets of northern Belfast. And it's not a one-off isolation. We had the stabbing last week of Henry Novak and people frightened to do the right thing because they thought it was going to be racist. Remember, we had Majek, another Sudanese who stabbed to death the lady who was helping him at the asylum centre. So the public have said enough is enough. It's not a one-off occurrence. This is happening regularly, and they're saying we want politicians to come up with a solution, and we don't want people coming into this country who we don't know who they are.
But I agree with you, Labour could do more, and I have ideas on what they could do, not least just keep proving that they care, because, as Will has said and you have said, they don't believe they have a problem. I think they do believe they have a problem. In November, they tightened the asylum laws to their tightest ever, the biggest reforms ever. March, Shabana Mahmood came back to the chamber doing more. Things like the visa break on Sudan would have stopped this in its tracks if it had happened before.
Hilary Benn revealed that he didn't think it was. He was absolutely shocked. What do you mean by alien culture?
With one comment.
No, because
you say that they don't care.
No,
they don't think there's an issue.
Shabana Mahmood yesterday also didn't have an answer to getting rid of the police anti-racism commitment. She didn't want to do anything.
Well, see, I mean, it's just the obsession with pulling you up on your language if you say something, but you say it straight. People don't like it. I mean, what I saw on the street was absolute savagery. And that is frightening in this country, absolutely frightening. And I don't think the politicians are listening. Well, we'll just try and keep putting pressure on them to do something about it. Now, coming up, though, we've got a great British giveaway. Time is ticking. Your chance to win £76,543.21. It's tax-free. Here are the details.
We're here at the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos to celebrate the chance to enjoy your most spectacular summer to date. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21, and that person really could be you. Imagine all of the fun you could have this year with that. You could treat the family, treat your friends, make it a super summer for everyone you know.
Or just enjoy a bit of me time, safe in the knowledge all those day-to-day financial stresses have been taken care of.
£76,543.21 in totally tax-free cash could be yours in time for summer. Just make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June.
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. Coming up.
What's he saying? Ew. There's your tire away. Not that there. Wonder what that there is.
Protests erupt in Belfast after a Sudanese migrant was charged on suspicion of attempted murder after a knife attack. We'll go live to Belfast and the protests and get you the latest in just a few moments. But before that, there's been an outcry after a Somalian refugee was blocked from entering America for the World Cup. But what's so bad about President Donald Trump wanting to control his borders? I wish we would do the same. That is next.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
What's he saying? Ew. There's your tire away. Not that there. Wonder what that there is.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Akwe, and Belfast is on the brink tonight. Protests have erupted after a Sudanese migrant was charged following a knife attack in the city. Well, we were bringing you lots of live coverage from there. Doogie Beattie is there in Belfast for us. But first, is President Donald Trump right to block a Somalian referee from entering America for the World Cup? It's time now for our head-to-head. So the World Cup hasn't kicked off yet, but just 3 days out from the start of the tournament, and organisers are facing another political row after one of Africa's top referees was banned from entering the United States. Omar Artan, who was set to become the first Somali to officiate at a World Cup match, was stopped by US Customs and Border Patrol and blocked from entering America due to vetting concerns. Somalia is one of several countries on the travel ban list introduced by President Donald Trump's administration. Posting on X, the former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn described the decision as an absolute disgrace. Yeah, he would say that. But tonight I'm asking, is President Trump within his rights to control who comes into his country? We're going head-to-head on this now. Our political strategist Pablo Ohana and social policy analyst Dr Rakib Hassan. All right, I'm going to start with you. Dr Rakib, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that, firstly, when we look at the list of countries which are included in this travel ban, which have been introduced under the Trump administration, there are countries there which have serious problems when it comes to Islamist extremism, general forms of social dysfunction and civil strife. Now, one of those countries who are under the full ban, one of those countries is Somalia, which essentially means that any citizen from Somalia may be banned from entering the United States. And I think the problem that we have here, Nana, is that a lot of people will have this debate on whether or not these kind of travel bans, whether they're racist or not. But when you are hosting an international sporting tournament, if you have these kind of blanket bans for entire countries, then unfortunately it may even apply to officials who would be officiating in these kind of tournaments. And unfortunately, Omar Artan has been caught up in all this. I believe that he was questioned for 11 hours. Then detained in a separate section, and I believe that ultimately, I believe he was returned to Istanbul in Turkey. And I don't think that actually portrays the United States in a positive light. And of course, the sovereign nation state has the right to decide what individual is allowed in their country and who isn't allowed in their country. But I think that this really shows that the blanket bans, when it comes to these kind of travel restrictions, that they become very complicated when it comes to the hosting of international sporting tournaments.
Well, I mean, they are entitled, surely, to decide who comes in and comes out, even if they do put a blanket ban. At least they're enforcing it. Pablo Ohana.
Yeah, I mean, call it what you like, but the reality is that they've blocked the best referee in Africa whilst waving through everyone else with the same paperwork. And it's actually not just that it makes America look a bit ridiculous, it's that they couldn't even really make up a reason. If your security policy can't really tell the difference between a genuine threat and a referee, then it's not really about security, is it? You don't really need to read Trump's mind to read the list. 12 countries, not one of them is rich, not one of them white. It's a funny odd coincidence, isn't it?
Hold on. Isn't he allowed... I'm sorry, but I'm listening to the pair of you and I'm thinking, what? Isn't Donald Trump, America, are absolutely within their rights to decide who comes into their country? And even if you might not think it's... you think they're going to look bad, they don't care about looking bad. They're going to enforce their law and protect their citizens. And for all we know, there might be a reason, as to a deeper reason. They interviewed this person for many, many hours and then decided that this person wouldn't be allowed in. Pablo, I don't see why America shouldn't do that if they feel that it's the right thing to do.
But are you hosting this game or not? I mean, if you're opening your doors to people to watch this competition, to play their part in it, then you have to accept that people are going to be coming into your country. There is a reason that America is the only country in the world where tourism is down this year, in the middle of this huge competition, this global competition where people should be flocking to America. Instead, their tourism is down because people People are looking at America and thinking, do you know what? Just not right now. Tourism from places like the UK, from Germany, all over the world, people are just not going to America because they're looking at exactly what is happening right now and thinking, do you know what? I don't want to get caught up in that.
Well, at least they're prepared to look at the safety of their citizens rather than the dollar that comes from tourists.
But they're not, though, are they? I mean, the safety
sticking,
of American
I respect them
citizens
for
is
sticking to the
threatened
plan,
every day.
actually. Well, Pablo, I'm so sorry. I could talk to you for a lot longer than this because we could have a good old scrap right now, but I do have to go. And Dr. Akiba-san as well, thank you very much for your thoughts. All right, coming up.
What's he saying? Ew! There's the other car away. Oh, that there. Wonder what that there is.
Protests erupt in Belfast after a Sudanese migrant was charged on suspicion of attempted murder after a knife attack. We'll go live to the protests in Belfast for the latest in just a few minutes. But before that...
Mr. Bond. James Bond.
Sir Idris Elba has warned the new custodians of James Bond not to make the legendary spy woke, and he says that 007 shouldn't be black. Is he right? That's next.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of sunshine on offer across Italy this Wednesday. Still a bit more cloud and the chance of 1 or 2 showers over eastern Spain. A cool breeze blowing in Madeira. Sunny spells, though, for the Canaries. Lots of sunshine for the Algarve. There's that cloudier weather over eastern Spain. Small chance of a shower or 2 here. And inland over Greece, 1 or 2 showers are possible on Wednesday. But plenty of sunshine over the Greek islands. More sunshine to come through Italy. And we'll see temperatures on the rise in Barcelona this week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office. Here on GB News, more showers to come tomorrow. Again, some of them pretty beefy with some thunderstorms thrown in. Between the downpours, bit of sunshine, but not feeling particularly warm. Low pressure's controlling things, but from afar, spiralling bands of showers across the country through the day today. Still some pretty lively ones out there this evening, but they are slowly but surely going to fade through the night. Certainly across many eastern areas, eastern parts of England, eastern Scotland becoming largely dry with clear spells. But further west, we'll keep some showers feeding in on a fairly brisk breeze, which will help to keep the temperatures up, maybe single digits to start the day over Scotland, Northern Ireland, parts of Northern England. Start with a bit of an east-west split on Wednesday, so many eastern counties of England, eastern Scotland, starting off with some sunshine, a fine start on the east coast, whereas the west coast of Scotland seeing showers coming in throughout the day, and there'll be plenty of showers in the morning across Northern Ireland. It's always going to be a bit somewhat hit and miss, but again, we'll see heavy showers developing as we go through the day. Plenty of showers feeding in across from the Irish Sea into northwest England. Down further south there'll be showers too for South Wales and southwest England, whereas much of East Anglia and the southeast having a dry and sunny start. But don't get used to that. The clouds will bubble up like today. We'll see some intense downpours for the afternoon, some thunderstorms, some hail thrown in, and some gusty winds. The heaviest showers come in the afternoon over the Midlands, eastern England and eastern Scotland, whereas actually in the west we start off with a lot of showers by the afternoon. The showers, well, a bit more interspersed with some longer spells of sunshine. The sunshine tends to disappear for Thursday. More cloud comes in from the Atlantic, outbreaks of rain, a damp, drizzly day for many, and it's quite breezy as well. Temperatures similar to today's values, so mid to high teens at best, perhaps feeling a little more humid. There are strong signs of some warmer, sunnier weather for the weekend.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
What's he saying? Ew! There's the other tire away. What's that there? Wonder what that there is.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Akwe, and Belfast is on the brink. Protests have erupted after a Sudanese migrant was charged following a knife attack in the city. We will bring you all of the latest. We'll be going back to Belfast in just a few moments. But first, Sir Idris Elba has poured cold water on years of speculation that he would become the next James Bond, warning that 007 should remain unrealistic and not be turned into a woke project. Speaking as casting gets underway to replace Daniel Craig, the Luther star said Bond is so unrealistic, so a hint of reality is good. But he went on to question whether audiences wanted iconic characters to be reinvented for modern times, adding, let's not try and make it woke. The Golden Globe winner, who was a front-runner to be Craig's replacement, ruled himself out, saying that audiences would not welcome a black actor playing the legendary role. I happen to agree with him. Well, I'm joined now by broadcaster and columnist who appeared in GoldenEye, Lizzie Cundy. Lizzie, welcome. Is he right? For goodness sake. I mean, why is everyone wanting to go woke? Next it'll be, I don't know, somebody from another. Why don't they just stick with the plan, which is how 007 was meant to be?
Yeah, Idris is totally correct here. Look, Ian Fleming wrote this in the 1950s, a British secret agent named of James Bond, and he was white. If the woke brigade don't like it and want a black James Bond, well, they can write their own version, can't they, Nana? Look, this is, you know, those that want to go woke, they go broke. Look what's happened to other brands that have tried to do this. James Bond is one of the biggest blockbusters we've known. It's grossed over 7.6 billion globally, is a global hit. Nana, why would you want to change it? He's totally right. It shouldn't be changed. And we love James Bond because that's the way he was written. And, you know, he gets the girls, you know, he gets the baddies, he has all the gadgets, but he is white. It's like asking, I don't know, Mary Poppins to be played by Oliver Reed or, you know, Sherlock Holmes to be a woman, you know. And you've got to remember, that's how it was written. And, you know, I spoke to someone that worked on The Karate Kid with Jackie Chan. They just said to me, you know, that's like having Marlon Brando play that part. You know, the character was from Hong Kong and he was athletic. James Bond was written as a white, he was actually a British Royal Navy officer that was joined, you know, the Secret Service. And that's how we love him. And that's why he's one of the biggest global cinema hits.
I mean, if anyone could pull it off, Idris Elba could, but that's not the point. The character is meant to be white. It's like having a white Martin Luther King. People would be up in arms and be like, what? You can't do that. It'd be like having a black Churchill. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why the woke brigade are trying to literally turn everything a bit weird and try and make it all sort of accepting, but I find it all a bit ridiculous. James Bond is meant to be white, and he should remain white. Lizzie Cundy, we have to leave it there. Lizzie Cundy, broadcaster, columnist, and appeared in GoldenEye. All right. Thank you, Lizzie. Good night. Right, coming up.
What's he saying? Ew! There's the other tire away. What's that there? Wonder what that there is.
Protests erupt in Belfast after a Sudanese migrant was charged on suspicion of attempted murder after a knife attack. We'll go live to the protests in Belfast for the latest in just a few moments.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Which of us doesn't like a puffin? Which of us doesn't like a dolphin? I mean, come on, we love these creatures. I bet your fellow guest loves them. Let's ask him, shall we?
OK. Rafe, how do you feel about dolphins?
Yeah, there's nothing uniquely British about the dolphin. There are very few uniquely British species. And the key point here is that it's young nations that use flora and fauna. Nations with a proud history and legacy, such as Britain does, we celebrate our past, we celebrate our great achievements. Banknotes are a symbol of national identity, and they are symbols of sovereignty. They rank right up there with the flag, the crown, with our coat of arms, and our honour system as symbols of the British nation. We live in an age now where people are so ignorant of history. Banknotes are one of the very few occasions when people actually get to be introduced to historical figures and learn about them.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
He or she is obliged to write an equality impact assessment for every single policy that Kingston Council does. This person has come up with something which is simply true. Women do more domestic tasks than men. Women like to look nice. This person has stated something true. For this, the Kingston Council has now, and I'll read it out, they've apologised. They've issued a statement. Guess what? They've launched an investigation. And now they're going to review their procedures. I mean, this is a woke doom spiral. And it's the faster we can get away from these equality impact assessments, the public sector equality duty that drives all this, the better.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Dorothea, how does it feel being here today, joining other veterans?
Everybody was so friendly in those days. We had one purpose in life, which was to free the world from Nazism and to get on with enjoying life. And it's so nice now that still looking to see if any of us are left, poor old dears, so they can say thank you and we can get together and talk about it. After the war, you simply didn't mention it. It went out of everybody's consciousness.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Right, well, before we get back to Charlie Peters, who is in Belfast for us, my panel are back. Let's get straight stuck in. Joining me, Esther McVeigh, Will Kingston and Kai Wilshaw. Esther, so we've seen all this. We know now that there's a lot of unrest at the moment in Belfast. We've been bringing all of the coverage for that. But, you know, that horrible scene, that awful footage in our streets, in this country, of someone just... It was just such a savage behaviour in broad daylight.
Yeah, repulsion is the word. When people talk about savagery, brutality and alien culture, well, we can understand all of that. I think the last time that I think I saw anything as horrific as this on the street was maybe the Lee Rigby murder. Yeah. And again, the nation was horrified. We see it now. You see it on social media. You see the clips. It's not like a distant photo. You might not have been there. We realise now that within our country, we have got people who will do these most savage attacks. And there's a combination of being fearful. There's a combination of how have we let these people into the country without checking them, without testing them. And equally, we've given people a place of refuge, and yet they have turned against the public. So there's so many emotions of anger, upset. We're paying for these people. We've given them a place to come, and look how they have turned on us.
Well, I mean, there are many good people who come as well.
Oh, totally. I'm talking about the brutality. I'm talking about this Sudanese beheading.
But you know what? The thing is, underneath all of this, another story emerged of some Afghan refugees who raped a 17-year-old. They got, tricked her into coming to wherever they were on Snapchat and all this thing. And then that was up. And it's it is just ongoing. It seems that this country has just taken on so many people. We don't even know who they are. We don't know where they've come from. And what really gets to me is the fact that we have all these asylum accommodation centres and they are allowed to roam freely on the streets. And just to correct myself, it happened in the evening, not during the day, but...
Well, the problem is, Nana, that this wasn't... this was a man who was actually eventually granted a visa and right to remain. That's allegedly. And so this is a problem of culture. And I was just reading on X in the break that Zia Yusuf say some cultures are much better than others. And some people will call that controversial. And it is not. It is obvious, and we are seeing it with our own eyes. Some cultures are better than others. Some cultures are truly awful, and we need to reconcile that with reality now.
Now, let's talk about what we've got here, because we've got lots of protests happening. I'm not surprised that people are up in arms, and it is the sort of lackadaisical manner that our politicians appear to be addressing the issues that we are bringing forward to them. I mean, for example, Doogie Beattie's very straightforward question to Michelle O'Neill, and the first thing he was met with are the words fake news. I mean, this is the sort of language that we're hearing from our politicians who don't want to acknowledge that there is a serious problem in this country. We can't control our borders, can we?
No, I think that's clear. But I think actually what you saw in Northern Ireland today was a show of unity. To see Emma Little-Pengelly there with Michelle O'Neill, there with Naomi Long, with the Chief Constable from different parties, all appealing for calm, as, by the way, did Richard Tice, as in his own way, as much as I disagree with some of what he said, Rupert Lowe said, look, don't take to violence because the government will be out to get you. So actually it puts lots of this violence into a different perspective. And as I said earlier, there are forces that are trying to use this tragedy to foment violence. We should not be duped into letting that happen. There clearly needs to be some reckoning, a political discussion about what we can do. We were having one in the break. How much further can we go to account for all these people who are in our country and to make sure things like this don't happen? There's clearly more that we need to do.
Kai, no one wants violence. Everyone agrees with that. But have you ever been in an argument and you know what you feel like when someone says, calm down, you're being hysterical? What happens? What do you do?
You get angry.
You get angry, don't you?
Yeah.
So can you understand why people are so angry on the streets when their politicians are doing the equivalent of stop being hysterical?
I do. That's what I'm saying. I understand the anger, and what I think politicians in particular, need to do is meet that anger with some level of urgency and remind them of what they're doing. Because Shabana Mahmood...
I think as well how the public's seeing it. It's politicians saying, it's your fault, it's your fault, and they're going, but it isn't our fault. We have been saying for a period of time that we need to stop mass immigration into the country, people we don't know. So I think it's the fact that politicians are blaming the public for getting angry. They are frustrated, and you're quite right. You shouldn't be burning down your own community, but there is that element of you must listen. And as I said, the Conservatives didn't solve the problem. We know that, but they did come forward with a solution, which was Rwanda. The biggest mistake here Starmer ever did on day one, whether they saw it could work or not, got rid of Rwanda and the deterrent. But I see Labour as saying there is no problem. We didn't solve the problem. Labour thinks there is no problem. And the question today, which Jim Allister said about how are you going to stop importing this alien culture, and I'm afraid the Labour Secretary of State, Hilary Benn, was shocked with the words, what do you mean alien culture? And all of the public was literally screaming at the telly. We know what we mean by alien culture, savagery, brutality on our street, which is not Christian, which is not British.
We're back where we were in the previous debate, where you say, based on one comment that Hilary Benn made, that the Labour Party as a whole doesn't believe in solving this issue.
Nana provided several examples.
I told you that we went much for the Labour Party.
We were talking about that because this was the debate today. Yesterday, Shabana Mahmood didn't want to get rid of the anti-racism commitment, which we saw the horrors that the police were prepared to take the words of a murderer, right? Because he said, oh, the guy was racist to me, and the police allowed a young lad to die on the streets while they were handcuffing him because they were frightened of a race being called racist. That's again, Labour,
But on immigration, they've gone further than the Conservatives ever did.
No, they didn't.
They've gone further than they ever did.
No.
The only thing you can adduce in contravention to my argument is to say Rwanda. No. Well, you can't pretend that was a silver bullet. It was never proved.
But Kai, by the way, that was Rishi Sunak getting rid of dependence that's brought the numbers down. Nothing to do
not just
what
that.
Labour's
That is
done.
nonsense.
It is.
Esther.
No.
You know
that
that.
is the truth.
I'm afraid on that, it is right.
Kai, you're basically comparing one set of largely useless policies with another set of largely useless policies, and you're missing the point. The point is the tone at which they are communicating this message. The tone at which they are communicating this message of just continuously saying, no, look over here, that's what makes people so angry.
All right, well, let's go live to Belfast now. GBNews' national reporter Charlie Peters is there. Charlie Peters, what is happening where you are?
Yeah, good evening, Nana. We're here on the Newtonards Road. There is an ongoing disturbance behind us, as we've seen playing out for the last few hours here in East Belfast. Just in the last few moments, we have seen all three services active around this street on the Newtonards Road. In particular, 2 ambulances and a paramedic vehicle just attempted to get past the smoke area behind us where there'd been an explosion, and that bus was set on fire, of course, the glider bus in the last couple of hours, but they couldn't get through that position due to the level of debris and smoke, and so they immediately turned around. They're going to have to find another route. We just saw the fire and rescue service conducting a similar manoeuvre. We have also seen a lot of police in the area. We've been here for a couple of hours, just moved down that road about half an hour ago, and we're told in no uncertain terms to leave by men wearing masks who did not want us around, did not want to see any cameras. And even as we move further up the road to this safer position on the road, we did have one man approach us and tell us to go away, that it was not appropriate for us to be here. And then actually John Borrows, the leader of the Ulster Unionist Party, he intervened, came out of his car, walked up to that man and said, we need a free press in this country, we don't need thuggery, very much standing up for us really in that instance. He knows our reporter and current cameraman, of course, Doogie Beattie, very well. So there is a febrile atmosphere. It is tense. It has fallen into some quite severe violence behind me. About 100 metres just to the buildings on my left, as you look down the road, we have seen, and you can see the smoke was billowing before, just behind that church to our left. That's now settled, likely after some intervention from the fire and rescue service. We did see some buildings on fire there as well, some cars on that row of buildings. We don't know precisely who they were targeting, the locals here, what was going on there, but some people did come up to us and tell us that they had a particular reason to want to set fire to those homes. What that particular reason is, we don't know, but someone has had their livelihood trashed tonight. Lots of buildings, lots of residential properties on that street did appear to be dealing with quite a lot of flames. That's why we saw the police, the ambulance and the fire service dealing with that. And all around this activity, with bins being pushed into fires, that bus down the road that was set on fire earlier, seeing some man there covering his face. I'm just going to move around there. Don't want to get into more agitation than we've already encountered so far. All around this destruction and the violence that's taken place, there is a mood that it might expand. Lots of men hanging around in masks telling us to get away because of what might come next.
Right, we'll be going back to Belfast. Charlie Peters, thank you very much. We'll be going back to Belfast and finding out everything that's going on there. We'll bring that to you as well. Do not go anywhere. Still to come, we'll be talking about the government spending our money for foreign powers. Stay tuned. All that and much more. This is GB News, Britain's #1 news channel.
£76,543 and 21 pence in tax-free cash could be yours this summer. That's totally tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. And remember, because it's totally tax-free cash, you'll get to keep every single penny. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late-night TV shows. We're giving you a front-row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the
unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
It's 10 o'clock. I'm Nana Akweer, in for Patrick Christys, and breaking news tonight. Belfast is on the brink. Protests erupt after Sudanese migrant was charged in connection with a knife attack that's left a 40-year-old man fighting for his life.
It's my understanding that the suspect was granted leave to remain in the United Kingdom, that he made his way from Sudan to Paris at dates unknown, and from Paris he flew to Dublin.
When will our politicians wake up?
What will be done to stop the importation of an alien culture that thinks it's appropriate to try and behead someone?
The honourable gentleman used the word alien culture, because what exactly is he referring to?
I'll have all of tomorrow's front pages, newspaper front pages, and breaking news on the front page of The Independent. Plea for calm after sickening Belfast Street knife attack. On my panel tonight, Conservative MP Esther McVeigh, GB News contributor Will Kingston, and political commentator Kai Wilshaw. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. We'll be going live to Belfast in just a few moments, but first, let's get your latest news headlines with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you, Nana. 10:01. Good evening to your top stories. A bus and other vehicles have been set on fire as unrest flares in Belfast after a Sudanese man was charged with attempted murder over last night's knife attack. Police say they are dealing with sporadic pockets of disorder in a number of locations across Northern Ireland, despite having repeatedly called for calm and responsible behaviour. The victim, a man in his 40s, is in a serious condition with significant injuries to his face, neck and back. First Minister Michelle O'Neill has warned about people who want to use the incident to incite hatred and fear, a message reiterated by Justice Minister Naomi Long.
There will, of course, be those who wish to take the pain, the suffering, the fear, the genuine concern in those communities and weaponise it for other purposes. I would appeal to communities not to allow themselves to be used and abused in that way.
The Conservatives were calling for the rules that require public bodies to promote equality when making decisions to be scrapped. Kemi Badenoch has pledged to restore common sense, saying the public sector equality duties resulted in some groups being preferred over others. The Tory leader believes it's been used to promote dangerous and divisive agendas, and the current law represents an overcorrection.
Authorities conditioned to see minority status as victimhood. They withhold information, they avoid difficult conversations, and they allow reputational concerns to dominate their decision-making.
A teacher and two pupils have been taken to hospital after they were injured in a knife attack at a school in Manchester. A 14-year-old girl has been arrested on suspicion of assault following the incident at the Co-op Academy in Blackley earlier today. Their injuries are not thought to be serious. The school was closed for the day. A man who murdered his partner before blowing up their home in a gas explosion has been jailed for life. 45-year-old Clifton George killed Annabelle Rook by stabbing her 31 times during a row at their home in East London after she tried to end their 10-year relationship. He was sentenced to a minimum term of 23 years. President Trump says a US helicopter that crashed near the Strait of Hormuz was shot down by Iran, and the United States, he says, must respond. American officials earlier revealed a US Navy surface drone was used to find and rescue two service personnel after their Apache helicopter went down near Oman. President Trump says the two pilots are safe and uninjured. However, Tehran says no air military operations have taken place over the strait over the past 24 hours. Finally, more than 400 people from the UK and Ireland who died as a result of the First World War have been remembered at a new memorial in Surrey. The Princess Royal, the president of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, unveiled the memorial at Brookwood Military Cemetery. It honours those who died after returning home from the conflict, whose graves were never properly identified or individually commemorated. It means their service and sacrifice will now have a permanent place in national remembrance. You're up to date with the headlines. Now it is back to Nana.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good evening. A Sudanese man has been charged in connection with a brutal knife attack in Belfast last night. The victim, who is in his 40s, suffered significant injuries to his face, neck and back. Now, horrifying footage shared on social media, which is far too graphic for me to show you tonight, appears to show the suspect stabbing him several times. Well, in a press conference this afternoon, police confirmed that the suspect had leave to remain.
It's my understanding that the suspect was granted leave to remain in the United Kingdom on the 28th of September of 2023. Again, this is to be confirmed, but I'm informed that he made his way from Sudan to Paris at dates unknown, and from Paris he flew to Dublin at a date yet to be determined. From my current understanding, he then travelled from Dublin to Belfast by bus on the 10th of February of 2023. There is no trace of this suspect on any of our national security databases, and he was not known to the Police Service of Northern Ireland.
Minutes later, the Home Office confirmed that the individual suspected of the attack in Belfast is a Sudanese national with leave to remain in the UK until 2028. Well, he entered the UK in 2023 and was granted refugee status the same year. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage said the suspect should never have been in Britain.
Last night on the streets of Belfast, barbaric, horrific in every way. We know that the man was of Sudanese origin. Number 10 are point blank refusing to say whether he came here legally or illegally. All that we know is that he was given leave to remain. Well, I'm sorry, but we're giving out that sort of status. We're dishing it out like Smarties to people we haven't properly checked. And I very much doubt whether this man should have been in Britain at all.
Well, Nigel Farage is right. The British state has been giving out leave to remain like Smarties. Liberal elites are destroying our country, but they're not living with the consequences of mass uncontrolled migration. Hard-working Brits are. And they've had enough. DUP MP Gavin Robinson hit the nail on the head in Parliament today.
Will he confirm that he and his government recognise that uncontrolled immigration needs to end? Will he confirm that the government needs to reassure and protect our population who for too long have had their concerns ignored?
Well, he's right. For too long, the concerns of millions of Brits have been ignored. They're sick and tired of mass uncontrolled migration. They're sick and tired of being told that they're racists for caring about it. They've had it up to here with being told they're the problem. It's that anger that has spilled out onto the streets of Belfast tonight. Well, it's obviously not right that people are violent or attack the police. That's awful, and it's not the solution. But our political leaders have to take responsibility for the fact that they have pushed a lot of normal people to the brink. Well, we're now joined by GB News' national reporter, Charlie Peters, who is in Belfast for us. Charlie, what can you tell us? What's going on there?
Well, Nana, we've moved about 200 metres up the road from we last spoke to you in the last 20 minutes or so, just because the tension and atmosphere, I have to say, it is becoming more intense here, so much so that some of the emergency services have left the area. There are pockets of violence and disturbance and disorder throughout other areas of Belfast and indeed across the province of Northern Ireland tonight. As we speak, we've seen emergency services up and down this location here, the Newtonards Road, quite regularly just in the last 10 minutes, many of them diverting away from the street because behind me the bus, the glider bus that was set on fire a few hours ago, that's now fully burned out. Other wheelie bins were pushed into its place, some of them as recently as the last hour. Here's an armoured car from the police just moving down the area now. Now we have seen those, Nana, in a convoy of 4 moving around. That is a typical tactic for the police service of Northern Ireland, operating in those convoys. But in this area, we've seen them move away, not wanting to approach the group of about maybe 100 masked people, most of them, of course, men, many of them very young men, some of them children, standing around that smouldering wreck of where that bus was, about 200 metres behind us. Another 100 metres beyond there, to the left, as you look down the street currently being filmed by Doogie Beattie, as you look down that vision there, you can see just past where the smoke is, on the 3rd Union Jack, is Lendrick Street. Now, in that location, a number of houses have been set on fire. Some of them are said to be housing migrants in HMOs, but we're awaiting further updates on that. As we approach that location, we were warned in no uncertain terms, do not go closer, by men in masks, coming up to us, warning to not get any closer. Funnily enough, we took that guidance and have since moved away, although one interaction with a man who came straight up to us, told us to leave. That was interrupted by Paul Burrows, who's the leader of the Ulster Unionist Party, telling him that there needs to be a free press. We won't have thugs on the street here in East Belfast, but the disorder and the disturbances go ahead. Now, I just want to bring you a statement that we have recently received from Northern Ireland's Justice Minister, Naomi Long, who's saying that weaponising genuine hurt, concern and anger are feeling is unacceptable, saying it's simply disingenuous, in her view, to claim that this current disturbance is being carried out for the good of Northern Ireland. She continues, there is no place for masked thugs to take to the streets and threaten, intimidate, disrupt and cause wanton damage. That is the perspective of the Justice Minister here in Northern Ireland. That statement released very recently as these fires continue on residential properties. Gangs of masked people, many of them kids, many of them young men, still gathering around the smouldering wreck of that bus. Further vehicles being set ablaze on Lendrick Street, about 300 metres behind me. We have also seen the interior and exterior of some buildings also on fire. What is consistent here from those involved in those disturbances, some of whom have approached us, of course, and those who are just onlookers, perhaps supporters but not involved directly in that violence, is there is a lot of anger here. There is a lot of dismay and distress and frustration about what happened in North Belfast last night. Of course, a 30-year-old Sudanese man has now been charged in relation to what happened in North Belfast. But for people here, a lot of them, that's not good enough, and they are wanting to take justice into their own hands. And that is why, while that man remains in police custody on suspicion of those offences, having been charged with them, will appear at Belfast Magistrates Court tomorrow. The people around here, some of them are taking matters into their own hands.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much for that. That's Charlie Peters. He's live in Belfast for us. We will be going back to him throughout the programme, but let's get the thoughts of my panel. Conservative MP Esther McVeigh, GB News contributor Will Kingston, and political commentator Kai Wilshaw. Esther, looking at that there, a lot of people are blaming the way the governments have managed immigration, in particular illegal migration. And some people will point to the likes of Suella Braverman and Robert Jenrick, who were part of the Conservative Party at the time, who had control over that. Why is it that they couldn't get things through? What was the problem that stopped them from... Because I know they were trying to push to get out of the ECHR and all the things that the Conservative Party are now saying they want to do. But what was it that stopped them from being able to try and push that through?
I think people have to understand it is a very difficult problem to solve. No politician is trying to make themselves unpopular by not solving it. Rishi Sunak did write on the front of that Rwanda bill to send people to Rwanda that this will be excluded from the ECHR. Not everybody at the time was on board to come out of it in its entirety. There were, I'll call them front runners, and that was Suella at the time. It was me. There was other people who were wanting to say that. But you have to get everybody involved. You've got to get it through the House of Commons. Everybody's got to vote for it. So it was difficult. They were looking at things to do it. We do need a third country where we will send people if we do not know where they come from, because what we know is people destroy their passports on the way over. So you can't just send them back to the country. There is no country to send them back to. We have to send them to a third country. Labour got rid of that on day one. They now know it was the biggest mistake ever. Other countries are picking up our Rwanda scheme. But what people are upset about are people breaking into this country of whom we know nothing about. Too many numbers. And like I said, yes, the Conservatives didn't solve the problem, but yes, they were coming up with solutions. And now the politicians today are feeble. They're not doing anything. The Smash the Gangs hasn't worked. Giving another 600 million to France hasn't worked. I'm afraid you're going to have to detain and deport, and you might have to do a moratorium. Nobody comes to this country for maybe 3-5 years.
Esther, I think that's a bit of a cop-out to say that, well, this was an incredibly difficult challenge and our leaders at the time didn't have the political courage to do it, but then now to say that the politicians are equally feeble. Fact of the matter is, for 15 or 20 years, no one has had political courage to lead a party in the right direction and, ironically, in the direction of the people. Now, in the Conservatives' case, as you know, because I know you're not part of this group, but what, 33% to 50% should be in the Liberal Democrats, who just wouldn't put up with it. So this is a problem for the Conservatives over a 15 to 20-year period where they have brought the wrong people into the party. So it's no wonder that people who actually really cared about the right outcomes in immigration couldn't get it done. So it's still ultimately on the Conservatives.
But do you think actually the Rwanda plan was a step in the right direction? Unfortunately, then, the party was destabilised. Not everybody was agreeing with it. He did actually push that forward, and then Labour got rid of it before even seeing if it worked. And we saw the detention element already working. The National Crime Agency said it was going to work. So I get what you say, and not enough was done. But there was a path forward.
I believe in offshore detention and processing because it's worked in Australia. I've seen it work. But again, at the same time, illegal migration is a part of the problem. Legal migration is an even bigger part of the problem. And you can bet that more Sudanese, Afghans, Eritreans, people from incompatible cultures, and I don't walk away from saying that, they are incompatible cultures, are coming in huge numbers legally.
So to do a moratorium, like I'd say, you need to actually stop anybody coming in for a few years.
I would stop people coming from, you know, a banned list of countries like the US has done, like 70-odd countries.
Yeah, and he's sticking to it. I mean, look, you look horrified, Guy.
I'm enjoying Will and Esther having a little Barney.
No, we're not. I think
I think we're on the same page.
I say Barney about a disagreement, you know that. Because he pointed out that the Conservatives did nothing, and it's easy enough to say Rwanda would have solved it. Well, that's a counterfactual, and that may not have been the case.
We saw it
and also, I'm not going to even start to come back for a third time to disagree with you on this Labour government's doing nothing, when I've already listed a bunch of things that they're going much further than the Tories ever did on.
Look how well it's working.
Yeah. Will, when did this person come into the country? 2023, under, Jenrick and Braverman, as we've already talked about. Once they have leave to remain, we were discussing this in the break, Esther and I, there is a problem that we need to, that I don't think anybody has the answer to, of if somebody has leave to remain, how do we audit where they are? If they're not in asylum hotels, if they're in dispersed accommodation, clearly the government needs to do more to understand who are these people, maybe sift it by risk, and I agree by countries where they're coming from, because there are different cultures in the world where people come to this country with different experiences of war, of torture, of rape. Of course, that's going to make a difference to their behaviour. So we need to understand better, maybe sift through risk and understand who those people are and where are they, and how can we try and stop this thing happening from people who are already here.
I don't think we need to understand them. I think what we need to do is just decide whether someone should be here legally and whether we're allowed to allow them to be here. And if we are having people here, for example, we've got lots of people coming here via small boat, they get here, we let them roam. This is a really good example of why they should be detained and kept in secure accommodation until we know everything that we need to know about them. This guy arrived and within months was given leave to remain, right?
Yeah.
So there was, I don't know what vetting they did, but they don't even know some of his transport arrangements, and they didn't even have any record of him.
No, exactly.
So this is the problem here. Yeah. These people are coming, they're trying to hit a target, the government's trying to hit a target of, I've got a load of people through now. What they should be given, I think, at the Home Office, is they should be given commission when they don't allow someone in. That's what I would do.
It's also proved that, the psychometric tests, the interview tests, etc., they were doing do not work. Yeah. They're not strict enough, they're not stringent enough. You're not maybe understanding if they have come from war-torn countries, if they have been traumatised by whatever wars are happening in their country. They're psychologically not fit or not the same. So I think there's lots of things that we say that's not working. Yeah. And that's why there was a big debate in the House last week, because 260,000 members of the public said, we now want to know crime by data. We want to know immigration status, nationality, religion. We want to know, because then we will have the answers. What is going on? Which country shouldn't be here? Which ethnicity shouldn't be here? Who's creating, the most crimes? And that is the way forward. And, the government doesn't want to do it, but actually the public is saying, this is common sense. We need to know what's going on.
But I think as well, take the emotion out of it and just look at each country as a cost-benefit analysis. My understanding is, for an immigrant, you need to be earning somewhere around £40,000 to £42,000 a year to be breaking even for the government, to be a net contributor to the economy. If, for example, a country on average produces immigrants which fall below that number, if they aren't culturally compatible and would need to make an assessment to say these are the criteria we would judge that on, then they don't pass that cost-benefit analysis. It should be very pragmatic.
I had that argument in Cabinet with Boris and he didn't want to hear it. You are spot on. You shouldn't be bringing people in here who are going to be dependent.
But Labour have raised the salary threshold now for many workers.
Yeah, well, they have, and then they've done the smash the gangs, and then they've done the one in, one out, and then they've done stuff on TikTok. Right, coming up, I'll have tomorrow's newspaper front pages and breaking news on the front page of The Independent: plea for calm after sickening Belfast street knife attack. More on the protests in just a few moments.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christys tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good evening. We'll be going back to those protests in Belfast shortly, but first, it's time for the Great British Giveaway. Your chance to win £76,543.21 in tax-free cash. Make sure you don't miss out. Hayley Sparks has all the details.
We're here at the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos to celebrate the chance to enjoy your most spectacular summer to date. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21, and that person really could be you. Imagine all of the fun you could have this year with that. You could treat the family, treat your friends, make it a super summer for everyone you know.
Or just enjoy a bit of me time, safe in the knowledge all those day-to-day financial stresses have been taken care of.
£76,543.21 in totally tax-free cash could be yours in time for summer. Just make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June.
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
we've been hearing tonight that protests have erupted in Belfast after a Sudanese migrant was charged on suspicion of attempted murder after a brutal knife attack in the city last night. Now, the 30-year-old is also charged with possession of an article with a blade or point in a public place and threats to kill. He is due to appear at Belfast Magistrates Court on Wednesday. The injured man, a resident of the area, is in his 40s and is being treated in hospital, where his condition is described as serious. Bins and a bus have been set on fire in the east of Belfast, and police have had projectiles thrown at them. Protests have also taken place in Southampton, London and Glasgow. Well, joining me to discuss this is former Solicitor General Robert Courts. Robert, thank you very much for joining me. So, obviously we can't talk about the current case because that is live, but what is it that the government can do to try and prevent this sort of thing from happening again? Because it seems, because of some of the agreements made around Brexit, the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic are quite porous. And because obviously the Republic is in the Schengen zone, then it means that it's an easy way of bypassing getting into the UK.
Yes, firstly, I know that everybody watching will join us in sending their very best thoughts to the man who's been injured in this awful incident. And, first and foremost, our thoughts have got to be with him at this terrible time. Turning to the points that you raise, you're absolutely right. This is quite a complicated area, some of which arises through the Brexit agreement, but some of which, in fact, is pre-existing. The common travel area between Ireland and the United Kingdom has existed since the 1960s, in fact. And Britain, the United Kingdom, was never in the Schengen area, so there's always been an issue there. And this has been thrown into relief, it's been particularly illustrated because of the fact that we're no longer in the European Union, of course, whilst the Republic of Ireland is. And so that does create a big issue where people are able to move freely around the European Union. And then there is a border that needs to be a free-flowing border, because that is the nature of the agreement that we have under the Good Friday Agreement and the nature of the Irish settlement that exists there. I think the most important thing that the government has to focus upon is reassuring the public that there is an ability to control those who are coming into our country so that we know the numbers and those who are here. The big problem, of course, that has changed under this government is that there is no longer any deterrent, so that people are able to come to the country if they come illegally, and of course we don't know the background of this case yet. But if they do come illegally, then there is no deterrent because there won't be a removals policy. That's something, of course, that Labour scrapped. And so that means that people can come to the country knowing there's very little chance of them being removed illegally, if that indeed did happen here. And regardless of the facts of this particular case, the public have expressed on very many occasions their very real discontent at the fact that we seem unable to control our borders. Now, huge steps under the last government have been taken. Sadly, a great many of those have been removed by this government. They will need to show that we control our borders.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing any real policy decisions that will make a real difference. And given the comments from Michelle O'Neill when Dougie Beattie from GBNews asked her a question and she referred to it as fake news, we have a problem, I think, with our politicians who don't appear to be taking this situation in terms of our borders seriously enough and come up with decent solutions that they can enact on quickly.
Yes, well, of course, one of the great issues of our time is the clash of political philosophy between those who believe in the nation state and wish to have properly controlled and policed borders, so you know who is coming in what numbers, and that you're able to process them. And on the other side of the argument, those who don't wish to do so, either because they feel it is uncomfortable and they're squeamish, or because they actually believe in an open border policy, as we find on particularly the further reaches of the left. And so that we have this real challenge now, and this government, of course, is particularly hit hard by this because they sit more on the left of politics, where they are uncomfortable at best with controlling borders. But of course, this has a real world consequence because it impacts upon capacity. We see this, of course, in every day on public services. And of course, whilst we don't know yet enough about this case, and of course, it's a live one, as you rightly say, the fact of the matter is that in every case where we are dealing with heavy, very large amounts of immigration, there is huge pressure put upon the systems and the services that are needed to process people, but also to ensure that their needs are catered to, that we understand who they are, what it is that they may need assistance with, to ensure that everybody is protected here. It's fundamentally about an integration issue. Very large numbers of immigration, particularly if we are not sure who those people are, in what numbers, and what their concerns and worries and their issues are, have a real issue on integration. And that's the reality of this very large immigration policy that this government in particular is powerless to do anything about.
All right, Robert Courts, thank you very much. He's a former Solicitor General. Thank you so much. All right, some breaking news just in. US Central Command forces have launched strikes against Iran in response to yesterday's downing of a US Army Apache helicopter. American Armed Forces officials are claiming that the mission is a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. All right, stay tuned. Coming up, I'll have all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. And again, breaking news on the front page of The Express. The very best of humanity. Residents praised for taking on Belfast street knife attacker.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of sunshine on offer across Italy this Wednesday. Still a bit more cloud and the chance of 1 or 2 showers over eastern Spain. A cool breeze blowing in Madeira. Sunny spells, though, for the Canaries. Lots of sunshine for the Algarve. There's that cloudier weather over eastern Spain. Small chance of a shower or 2 here. And inland over Greece, 1 or 2 showers are possible on Wednesday. But plenty of sunshine over the Greek islands. More sunshine to come through Italy. And we'll see temperatures on the rise in Barcelona this week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office. Here on GB News, more showers to come tomorrow. Again, some of them pretty beefy with some thunderstorms thrown in. Between the downpours, bit of sunshine, but not feeling particularly warm. Low pressure's controlling things, but from afar, spiralling bands of showers across the country through the day today. Still some pretty lively ones out there this evening, but they are slowly but surely going to fade through the night. Certainly across many eastern areas, eastern parts of England, eastern Scotland becoming largely dry with clear spells. But further west, we'll keep some showers feeding in on a fairly brisk breeze, which will help to keep the temperatures up, maybe single digits to start the day over Scotland, Northern Ireland, parts of northern England. Start with a bit of an east-west split on Wednesday, so many eastern counties of England, eastern Scotland, starting off with some sunshine, a fine start on the east coast, whereas the west coast of Scotland seeing showers coming in throughout the day, and there'll be plenty of showers in the morning across Northern Ireland. It's always going to be a bit somewhat hit and miss, but again, we'll see heavy showers developing as we go through the day. Plenty of showers feeding in across from the Irish Sea into northwest England. Down further south there'll be showers too for South Wales and southwest England, whereas much of East Anglia and the southeast having a dry and sunny start. But don't get used to that. The clouds will bubble up like today. We'll see some intense downpours for the afternoon, some thunderstorms, some hail thrown in, and some gusty winds. The heaviest showers come in the afternoon over the Midlands, eastern England and eastern Scotland, whereas actually in the west we start off with a lot of showers by the afternoon. The showers, well, a bit more interspersed with some longer spells of sunshine. The sunshine tends to disappear for Thursday. More cloud comes in from the Atlantic, outbreaks of rain, a damp, drizzly day for many, and it's quite breezy as well. Temperatures similar to today's values, so mid to high teens at best, perhaps feeling a little more humid. There are strong signs of some warmer, sunnier weather for the weekend.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power. Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good evening. This is Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Akwe, only on GB News. Let's have a look at tomorrow's front pages. On the front page of The Independent, plea for calm after sickening Belfast Street knife attack. The Express leads with the very best of humanity. Residents praised for taking on Belfast Street knife attacker. And the Daily Mirror refused entry. Fury, the Somalian refugee humiliated at immigration. And the Metro leads on this story, historic day for victims terrified by train pests. We'll get into that very shortly, but first let's get back to Belfast and GB News' national reporter Charlie Peters, who's there for us. Charlie, talk to us about what's happening there.
Well, Nana, one way to clear out rioters is to pray for a change in weather, and the disorder and a bit of the anger and violence that we were arriving to here in this scene about 20 or 30 minutes ago, that has died down a little bit with the arrival of all this rain. The police were a bit stood off when we arrived here 20 minutes ago, but they have moved in a bit more bold. You see them on the streets here, 2 vans setting up. Just a bit further up this road, that is a bridge that actually goes over the motorway, the main ring road around Belfast. When we were driving into the city a few hours ago, still lightly smoking now, and that was...
He's cutting in and out, but we will try and bring you as much of what he has there. So those are the live pictures there in Belfast right now. The rain has almost stopped play, not quite though. And so joining me, my panel, Esther McVeigh, Kai Wilshaw and Will Kingston. Almost forgot your name there.
I forget it myself sometimes.
How could I do that? So Esther McVeigh, we look at this. Thankfully, there's been a bit of rain, which has, stopped a bit of the protests. But it is understandable that people are really, truly angry about the way subsequent governments, not just Conservatives, but also the way the Labour Party are handling it, and how politicians, when confronted with it, don't appear to want to take it seriously.
I think the devastating part of this is that people are destroying their own communities. It is, in that regard, it is self-harm. But you are right, out of sheer frustration, upset and anger, that the politicians are now saying it's your fault, you are far right, or it's you must come together, you shouldn't be doing this. Instead of the politicians taking responsibility themselves, this is happening, we do have to stop it. The most important thing is to protect our borders and protect our community. It's the biggest, number one job of a government is to protect its country, protect its borders, protect its people. But we don't want, I know everybody's called for calm, we don't want to see this, but, we can understand that anger and frustration.
And you know what? Whilst I don't think anything now would calm down some of the people in Northern Ireland, they are that angry, and I think justifiably that angry. Probably the best shot the politicians would have would be something like, we're sorry. We brought this upon you, or we imposed this upon you. It was our policies that did this. We've got it wrong. We've got to do better. We are listening to you. We hear you. But they can't do that, because to do that would be to concede their entire worldview has led to the mutilation of people, the death of people, and they're not willing to do it.
I understand you want to validate the anger of people. I agree. I understand that people are angry. But I think that what we're seeing here is a total error of judgment. To look at the violence that's happening now and to equivocate, just like you accuse the left of doing, and to assume that all these people are, number one, I don't think they're necessarily all from Belfast, that they have good intentions, that they are just simply motivated by the horror of what they saw last night, and not that these are violent gangs who are here, whatever's happened last night, who are here to cause disruption, to cause violence, and to cause arson, clearly. Is there not some, again, two things can be true. A community can be so angry beside itself, but there's also the obvious truth to me that because of anger being whipped up online and by non-UK people, that people are taking to the streets in Belfast from other places.
Well, let's go back to Charlie Peters. He's there in Belfast for us. Charlie Peters, I think we've got his line back. Charlie.
Hi, Nana. Yeah, there is still quite significant police activity behind us. Just as that connection dropped a few moments ago, we did see a group of police cars coming down this road at the base of the Shankill Road now in West Belfast, away from Newton Ards Road and the easterly were before. And as a parade of those armoured police vehicles came down, we saw some cones being thrown at them as the masked group at the top of this road stood off against them. There is still a grouping of distance to...
We'll just try and bring you some pictures. I think the weather's probably playing a part in that as well. So the signal is a little bit choppy, but what you're seeing there, those were live pictures there in Belfast. Charlie Peters is there for us, bringing you the updates. It does look like the weather has calmed things down, which would appear to be a good thing in a sense, but I can completely understand why people are apoplectic with rage, as I am with the way things have been going on and the way the immigration system is working in this country.
There's an awful historical parallel as well. I'm not an expert on the history of the Troubles. My understanding is the Shankill Road was a road that suffered severe. There was a lot of danger and there was a lot of conflict on that very road. So to see this type of conflict today under different circumstances in what is a very, very changed Ireland it's sad.
Yeah, if the politicians had have come out and said, what we're going to do is detain and deport. What we're going to do is make sure that if they are in a house of multiple occupancy or a hotel, they will have greater security on them. If they had have come out with a response and an answer, rather than saying, don't you be associated with the far-right movement, don't you go and protest, it's all your fault, I think they might have had a different response tonight.
If they'd said that we're going to detain everybody who comes here via small boat and all of that, or people who are here illegally, or, you know, then I would be listening. Yep. But isn't it even worse that they're now putting them in HMOs? They think they've done us a favour by telling us that they're taking them out of hotels to put them, disperse them now amongst all of us. No, that's not what we were looking for. I personally was looking for people to be detained when they arrive here illegally.
Yeah, why are you so against detention, Scott?
What's wrong with that?
Detention.
Since when am I against detention?
Are you not?
You said on GBNews, we talked about it. You said you're against the detention of illegal migrants when they arrive in the country.
Have I? I have not.
Okay, sorry.
I think setting up detention camps, for instance, like the Home Office is clearly urgently trying to accelerate in response to shutting down asylum hotels, I think that is a better approach. I don't particularly like dispersal accommodation, HMOs. Okay, but I also think that maybe, you know, there is a case for it being better when people aren't communing with other people who are failed asylum seekers or whatever. Maybe it works if they're separate from those people in smaller houses or whatever. But I don't think it's a good situation at all.
Well, I suspect if they knew that they were going to be detained, then perhaps they wouldn't want to come here in such great numbers.
Right.
If they thought they couldn't get out and they'd be stuck in somewhere for a while, then we're more likely to get genuine asylum seekers here rather than those who just want to take the absolute, you know, the next word. All right, this is Patrick Christys tonight, only on GB News. We're looking at tomorrow's front pages. The front of the Telegraph leading with beheading. Suspect entered UK via asylum loophole. Coming up, the Daily Mail will be looking at that. Sudanese knife attack suspect got asylum after taking backdoor to the UK. Surprise, surprise.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
If you're working in collaboration, one with an excellent script, with an excellent director, with an excellent lighting cameraman, and hopefully an excellent actor, there is a moment when all of those energies join and a certain kind of magic is revealed. And one can see that in so many great performances that one can see on films that, of course, are not AI generated. I mean, I ask myself the question, could an AI generated film be as good as Apocalypse Now or The Godfather?
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I had a call with the producer of The Godfather just 2 days ago about how we can work together using AI. So he thinks, that it's another tool in the sandbox, that you cannot replace human creativity.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Baking award-winning biscuits. Sawley Kitchen handcraft a variety of shortbreads, cookies and ginger thins. And the North Yorkshire Bakery is celebrating National Biscuit Day.
I mean, a whole day dedicated to the biscuit. Like, you have to, right? We take traditional biscuits like cookies, ginger thins, and put our own spin on it. And I'd probably say that ginger thins are the most popular. When you snap it, that noise is amazing.
Down the road from the bakery, we asked the people of Ripon for their opinion.
Well, it's probably a Jaffa cake, but that might be a bit controversial, mightn't it? Because some people say it's not a biscuit, but that's my favourite. I always used to have it when I used to go and visit my nan when I was a kid.
Definitely a chocolate hobnob. It's comforting. And no, I'm not a dunker.
GB News, the People's Channel. Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
The travellers have arrived at the cricket pitch, and let's be frank, they're not very welcome. Seems to be a pattern of just taking over public land like this, and should that stop?
If you try to book onto a campsite, i.e. a regular campsite with tents and there's shower facilities, etc., where tents, caravans go, motorhomes, your point blank will be turned down as a group. It's just impossible to go onto a campsite. I can appreciate it's a cricket field, but that's what they're doing. They're camping because they've got nowhere else to go.
OK, well, let's get the former Labour Party MP and Graham Jones on now. Graham Jones, it's not cricket, is it?
Volunteers spend hours cleaning these places up. They spend hours investing in them, and then to have them just turned into a rubbish dump or not be able to use, and in this case and in other cases, the abuse that you receive is just incredible. I mean, it's just not acceptable.
The People's Channel.
Hi, this is Patrick. Christys tonight, only on GB News with me, Nana Acquia. Right, let's take a look at tomorrow's front pages. We'll start with the Daily Telegraph. Beheading suspect entered UK via asylum loophole. The Daily Mail leads with Sudanese knife attack suspect got asylum after taking backdoor to the UK. The Sun, evil in his eyes. The Guardian leads on the same story. Violence erupts in Belfast after protests over stabbing attack. The iPaper, police plead for calm after knife attack as far-right push for protests across Britain. All right, well, joining me now, my panel, Conservative MP Esther McVeigh, GB News contributor Will Kingston, political commentator Kai Wilshaw. All right, where should we start with? Who wants to go first?
Well, can I just point out, you've done a read-through of the papers, Nana, but I don't think you mentioned the Mirror there. And all of the papers rightly recognise that this is the most important story in this country right now. Even The Guardian are reporting on it. How ideologically captured do you have to be not to put this on your front page as the Mirror, but instead just to bash Donald Trump as they're doing there? Like, they are a rag, an absolute rag, and they must be so ideologically warped in their thinking not to cover what really matters to the people of the UK.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shock, wasn't it? But then I guess they would... I don't know what they would argue, to be honest with you. I can't really defend that one. I think that is the big story. That is the story that people want to talk about.
Well, they're all sports, aren't they?
I guess if there was anything positive to come from this, and I guess we've got it, I think it's on the Express front page, and that was the three heroes that ran to the man's defence as he was being beheaded by the Sudanese man. And they didn't know what was going to happen. They turned, I think, down this corner to get some petrol, so they didn't know they were going to be there. They saw a commotion going on. They saw a female reverse quickly out of the road. They thought, we'll go over and help. And then they were confronted with this horrific sight. And one of them said, you better grab something, which was a hurler, that, stick, and thwacked him to get him off. And by the sounds of things, he must have been incredibly strong. I don't know what it was, but he kept on fighting the Sudanese guy. And it took all three of them, I think, to overpower and get rid of him. But yes, they were heroes and they've saved that man's life. But it was a fluke that they were there.
Thank God.
And can I just say, the one thing that we must hold on to is that shows that there's still a little bit left of a social contract, of a feeling of societal responsibility in Britain. So many countries don't have that. Because once you don't pay into the system or believe that the system owes you anything, you stop intervening in cases like that.
Well,
Thank God we still have something.
I think sometimes people don't intervene in other cases, and, you know, if we leave this one aside, a lot of people don't intervene because the law can be a real ass, you know the word. And the fact is that it can backfire on you for getting involved. And I think somehow we've created a society where actually it might not be in your best interest to protect the public if you could. And thank God that these lads did something, because a lot of people would have said, "Ooh, I don't trust the legal system will protect
And
them."
I also don't think they knew what they were running into. They ran over, thought they were just going to stop some people who were having a fisticuffs, and then, I guess you're there, you're committed, and they wanted to help him, and, you know, absolutely horrific.
Yeah, you're right. The iconic case was that Daniel Penny case in New York, where he was a hero for saving people from a threat on a train, and he was the one who was prosecuted. I remember only maybe a year ago, there was footage of a lunatic on a train in London or somewhere in England, and 3 lads took it on themselves after this guy was taking his clothes off and yelling and screaming to grab him and throw him out of the train, and they were the ones that the police spoke to. So I can understand why people would go, you know what, the good guys are the ones that are punished in this country now.
And it seems sometimes the law just continues to badger the good guys, you know, and there seem to be a lot of support for the victim. Oh, why did they do that? And let's look into their history, and why did they? And it just seems to me, look, I'm really not that bothered about whether, you know, what their problems are in terms of why they did that. I want them punished properly. And even in the legal system, it doesn't seem like people are punished properly as well, which is another problem that we have in this country.
I think the other thing we've got to look into is this so-called Irish route, the route that he came in through, and involves migrants flying to Dublin from Europe, sometimes on false papers before travelling by land to Northern Ireland to claim asylum. The UK and Ireland share a common travel agreement area, said, and this prompted criticism from of European countries, particularly France, over the policing of their borders, despite having been given another £662 million. The French seemed sort of happy to wave through those illegal migrants.
But can you blame them?
It does make you think, even if they get the English Channel under control, or a future government does, that will just then become the new tactic for people smugglers.
Yeah, and we're seeing that already, aren't we, with small boats being launched even further up the European coast from Belgium and so on. There's, you know, we've been locked out of certain systems from since Brexit. I'm not blaming Brexit for that, but I'm just saying we have. Things like biometrics, the Eurodac system, we don't get access to anymore, and Europe is actually using it as something in our negotiation with them, as something, you know, as a sort of bargaining chip. Well, that's not good enough, is it, really? Because we need access to that.
Yeah, but you'd think
to police our borders with Europe.
But you think that when Keir Starmer did the UK-EU Defence Pact, when he did the negotiations, you might think about using our fishing as part of the tactic to control migration. But, oh, no, he never thought of that. He never thinks of anything, does he? Well, listen, stay with us. Do not go anywhere. There's a whole boatload full of news I'll be sharing with you in just a moment. But before that, let's find out what the weather's got in store for us tomorrow. Don't go anywhere.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office. Here on GB News, more showers to come tomorrow. Again, some of them pretty beefy, with some thunderstorms thrown in. Between the downpours, bit of sunshine, but not feeling particularly warm. Low pressure's controlling things, but from afar, spiralling bands of showers across the country through the day today. Still some pretty lively ones out there this evening, but they are slowly but surely going to fade through the night. Certainly across many eastern areas, eastern parts of England, eastern Scotland becoming largely dry with clear spells. But further west, we'll keep some showers feeding in on a fairly brisk breeze, which will help to keep the temperatures up, maybe single digits to start the day over Scotland, Northern Ireland, parts of northern England. Start with a bit of an east-west split on Wednesday, so many eastern counties of England, eastern Scotland, starting off with some sunshine, a fine start on the east coast, whereas the west coast of Scotland seeing showers coming in throughout the day, and there'll be plenty of showers in the morning across Northern Ireland. It's always going to be a bit somewhat hit and miss, but again, we'll see see heavy showers developing as we go through the day. Plenty of showers feeding in across from the Irish Sea into northwest England. Down further south there'll be showers too for South Wales and southwest England, whereas much of East Anglia and the southeast having a dry and sunny start. But don't get used to that. The clouds will bubble up like today. We'll see some intense downpours for the afternoon, some thunderstorms, some hail thrown in and some gusty winds. The heaviest showers come in the afternoon over the Midlands, eastern England and eastern Scotland, whereas actually in the west we start off with a lot of showers by the afternoon. The showers, well, a bit more interspersed with some longer spells of sunshine. The sunshine tends to disappear for Thursday. More cloud comes in from the Atlantic, outbreaks of rain, a damp, drizzly day for many, and it's quite breezy as well. Temperatures similar to today's values, so mid to high teens at best, perhaps feeling a little more humid. There are strong signs of some warmer, sunnier weather for the weekend.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Are you dreaming of a ton of tax-free cash this summer? We want to make that dream come true with a stunning £76,543 and 21 pence in cash to spend however you like. Put a new car on the drive or just relax in the knowledge that this year we've got your back. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the